Well, I will tell you a conversation I would like started that is not spoken. All right, here's all I want to do. Had this conversation with many people under my roof, which is all I want is for this not to happen again.
Yeah.
That's all I want. So whatever modality we need to do to rectify this or cure this or whatever it is, I just want to avoid this.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
I don't want to argue about it. I'd like to avoid it. This thing that we kind of agree is bad for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And look, could be you wake up in the morning, you walk out, and you realize the garage door's been open all night, and you go, geez, I don't want this to happen again. And I'm not really interested in arguing. I just don't want it to happen again.
Right.
That's my wish. Yeah. And my wish when it comes to mass shootings or anybody shooting anybody, because because we have to break everything up into some sort of racial category, we go, oh, well, white people out shooting, these mass shooters. And then they go, oh, what about the inner cities of Chicago? Okay. I'll make a controversial statement. I don't want white people or black people shooting each other or anyone else.
Yes.
Okay. Now, that's the problem. How do we prevent the problem?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now let's see. Let's see if we can break it down. Well, we got a problem. What's that? Guns. Okay. I'm all ears. What are we going to do? Well, we got to document people that get guns. We got to It's always funny. It's funny that in the state I live in, we want background checks and 2-week waiting periods, and we want 1,015 rules when it comes to guns, but we're announced we're a sanctuary city. Los Angeles Sanctuary. If you want to come here with no documentation, go ahead and hang out for free and do nothing or do something. It's none of our business is really what it is. But so we want every kind of check on anyone who wants to purchase a gun, any citizen who wants to purchase a gun. But if you just you're non-citizen, you're coming here, no questions asked. It's a weird thing because, you can say what you want about Germany, but at least they're pretty consistent. They're like, we got a lot of rules, and they apply to everything all the time. You want some wind chimes, fill out some paperwork.
It's funny. Have you ever gone up and done work in Canada?
Kind
of worker's permit. How did you find that experience of getting a worker's permit and getting through the border and being treated while you were there, and when it came time for your worker's permit to end, how you were treated when it was time to go?
I was pretty much abused.
Yes.
They abused you.
Yes, it was unbelievable. And I had the same experience in Australia. And so I noticed the Canadian Prime Minister was sitting next to Mr. Trump last week, and I wish he'd just gone, oh, Mr. Prime Minister, how do you deal with people at work and people that come to you have a bridge to Toronto, right? There's a bridge, people just shake their bridge.
Just come on in, chillax, do some work.
You shake people down, you make the paperwork impossible, you have armed officers greet the person and come get the person if they're an hour late getting out of there when they're supposed to. It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, I've been through this 2 times.
Yeah, me too.
I did it once with Jimmy a million years ago when we were going there selling the Man Show to the Canadian Comedy Network. And I did it once about 10 years later when I was going to Toronto to do a stand-up show. And it's literally pull you out of line, open up your briefcase, look at your itinerary, and start shaking you down.
And then they will, if you're not, if you're not out on this date, we're coming for you. We're coming to get you.
Oh, what theater are you playing? Oh, Burton Cummings Theater. How much are they paying you?
Yeah.
Okay. We need to talk to
Who's
someone.
managing that theater?
We need to talk to someone from the theater.
Oh,
you can't get them on the phone? Well, then sit there until we get someone on the phone.
Oh, Mr. Prime Minister, so you have a bridge to Toronto? It's a bridge. You drive the bridge?
I know.
Or do you have a freaking Gestapo waiting for anybody that tries to get from this country to your country? I don't understand why that conversation. Did you ever go to Australia?
That's the hypocrisy, obviously. Mexico has a border with Central America. Do you think there's nobody there, or they just let everyone just willy-nilly come waltzing into Mexico? Or do you have a whole separate set of rules for your country than you'd like us to have? And look, Canada and Mexico are both the same way. They sit there and go, what are you guys so uptight for, man? Open it up. Let folks in. What's all the judging going on? All right. Why don't we simply just take whatever rules look, I can think of no fairer way to do this.
We'll take your rules and we'll apply them.
We'll just apply.
Yeah.
Okay, is that fair?
Yeah.
Oh, because you would be screaming bloody murder if we just took your rules and applied it to our country.
Oh, my God.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. It's a very good point. Yeah. So now, Guns. What shall we do? Okay. Well, there's 300 million guns in circulation. Yeah. But if you want to go buy one tomorrow, we got to really crack down. And my feeling is like, I appreciate that. And I don't think it's going to hurt. And I'm all for anything that's not going to hurt. So I'm not going to poo-poo all these ideas that you're having. But I kind of don't think it's going to make a real impact on what we're talking about, because there's so many that are in circulation, and there's so many folks who can get their hands on them and already have their hands on them, that I can't see this making a big impact on what we're talking about.
Let me play the devil's advocate. People then push back and say, well, in Australia, they had a buyback, and they got them all back.
Okay. I'm for the buyback.
Australia has the same number of people as Los Angeles.
I understand.
Yeah, I know. And they got them all back. But I don't even know. Okay. Either way, I'm for it. Look, you want to try a buyback? I like a buyback.
Yeah.
You want to try background checks and, limiting the magazines to 8 rounds or whatever? I'm for all that. I don't think it's going to make it. I don't think it's going to prevent anything. I can't say that it's not going to prevent anything, but I know intuitively that if there's another nut job like this, he's going to figure out a way to pull this off.
Yeah.
Okay. And remember, there's always Tim McVeigh and his Ryder rental truck with fertilizer in it, and he took out 130-something. Gary can look it up. 160 people. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
He took out a lot of people. It's weird. It wasn't with a gun, so it's just sort of, it was with manure. All right, but tell that to the 168. Tell it to
hundreds injured.
Hundreds injured. Tell that to the parents of the kids that were in the preschool on the first floor. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Okay. Either way. So we'd like to do something about this. Okay. So we want to do background checks. Okay, fine. Would background checks have stopped this guy in Vegas? I don't think so. It doesn't seem like they would have. All right. Well, we need to do more. We need to know. Okay.
Yeah.
We need to do more.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's something that I think would affect the shooting in Vegas, and I know would affect the shooting on the south side of Chicago. Dads hanging in. Dads mentoring. Dads being a part. Dads disciplining. Dads sort of right from wrong.
It's funny. I did a show with Russell Brand. You can actually watch it. I think it's Live Talk LA. Take it up, Gary. And we had people were asking like very specific questions. The woman goes, "My 7-year-old son, is your son here?" Russell goes, "There he is." He calls him up on stage, and Russell does a really nice job. He grabs the kid and he goes, I was a drug addict too at your age. I remember what it was like. And he goes, "But I'm just doing the score here. Your mom's here. There's no dad here. I remember the pain of not having a dad and not having a male influence and how awful that was." I don't hear that in this country ever. Anybody ever saying that? And he said it with great clarity.
Well, LiveTalksLA.com.
I agree with Russell.
And it was like, wow. And the kid just like froze and teared up. And I was like, oh, yeah. We don't discuss it.
Well, look, handgun buyback, background check, limited amount of clips, the stops, I always want to say bump stops. The reason I want to say bump stops because that's a part on a car. And this is a
bump stock.
Bump stock, right. Bump stocks. Let's make bump stocks illegal. Okay, but really? I mean,
how much is that going to do?
All right. So
go
provided we could do all this, I'm not sure that it would do much. I'm not saying don't do it, but I do know something. I know something that would positively make a huge effect on all of the gunplay.
Yeah.
Anyone who thought it'd be a good idea to shoot another human being, whether it was a domestic situation, husband and wife, gang situations. As a matter of fact, good luck finding gang members when my plan is implemented, because they're not going to be young boys looking for a family. The family will be at home in the form of dad. Or mass shooters whose dads turned out to be bank robbers and on an FBI most wanted list, and growing up with that hollowness and anger of never knowing your dad.
How about genetically inheriting his psychopathy?
Nature and nurture.
Yeah.
Point is this. My plan, I think, is going to have an impact on all gunplay, and I say it'll be a severe impact. It's not going to be, it's kind of hard to tell with the dad on the background checks, because in Florida, gun deaths went up. It's not going to be any of that. Dads, stick around. raise your kids, I bet it has a massive impact on all forms of violence.
That's been shown to be true.
All right, so not heard it from either side, not discussed. Is that the third rail of politics now? Asking dads to raise kids? That's, oh, please, we can't judge. We can't go there. You and your cockamamie theories about families. We'll have to wait till the dad. The dad is in. It's in and it's been in. Why is this not discussed? And I know everything goes down and turns into some sort of racial thing at a certain point. But look, if it's going to save people in this group, then you're negligent not to discuss it. So, dads in the home. Absolutely insane what has happened. Look, you take a look at any violence. It's overwhelming statistically. What percentage? You have like you're 20 times more likely to end up in prison if you don't have a dad. It's not twice as likely. It's not 5 times. 20 times. So we'd like people to not end up in prison, right? Well, let's not get racial. We'd like nobody to end up in prison. Yeah, but there's predominantly black. But okay, good. Let's help them. Can we help? No, because that's now you're judging. Okay, I'm not judging. Let's just get more dads involved and see if we can have less folks in prison. Well, they're locked up, disproportionately. Okay, let's just get the dads there and see what happens. See if the disproportionate thing calms down a little bit. Could we do that? No. You're racist. Okay. All right. Well, then I'm out of ideas because you want to talk about background checks, and I'm by the way, I'm fine with background checks, but at a certain point, we need to get into stuff what we call root problems. Remember that part where you're talking about having an honest dialogue about things? How about we have an honest dialogue about people that are violent and where their dads are? And I think my feeling is you don't need to get rid of guns as much as you need to get rid of violence, of people who think it's a good idea to hurt somebody. Okay? So my plan is universal. My plan involves guns, knives, Ryder trucks filled with fertilizer, ramming people with a van on a bridge, driving through a farmer's market in your pickup truck and mowing down old people. My thing is everything. So I'd like to implement my nonviolent plan with the dads and the home and the security and the discipline. Let's see what happens.
I love that.
Yeah.